Hey everyone, so I got this grow light here that I gotta take a look at. Somebody asked me to take a look at it for them, and I don't know much about these. I mean, how hard could it be? Power supply runs LEDs or some fans and a couple of heat sinks, but we'll find out. I'll show you what it does. Give it a little power, and I'm blocking the fans by having it sit like this. There's two fans on the underside of it, but just for a few seconds it should be fine. So when you turn it on, I think this is the bloom setting, or actually let's go veg first. Tell you what, let's try this. Forgot I had to grab this. It's a bad LCD panel, but it should hopefully work for a shade. So you go to the veg setting, and you see a bunch of LEDs are out, even the LEDs here. There's rows of them. Now, I don't know what rows are supposed to be, what rows are supposed to be on, but I would imagine these two panels should look the same as these. And if we put it to, I think, bloom, it just lights these ones up. These panels are out, which is probably normal. And when you put them both on, this almost lights up completely. There's a couple, I know you can't see it on camera, but there's a couple LEDs that are not lit. Actually, on this one, just one LED that's not lit, and then this has a whole bunch of LEDs that aren't lit, and then you can obviously see this is not lit. There's also a bunch in here that aren't lit. So I don't know if that's, let's turn this off. I don't know if that's what kind of power supply it has, if it's got just a bad connection. I don't know if these are running series and maybe one of the LEDs blew out and took all the other ones with it, or obviously if it died open, then they're not getting power. So I don't know, we're gonna have to take a look at that. I can kind of see the traces through the glass, but I think it'd just be easier just to take it apart. Actually, this isn't glass, this is plastic. I think it'd just be easier just to take it apart and look at it at that point. So let's do that. By the way, this is you probably won't be able to see it on camera. It is a Phlizon? I don't know. I think this is like a cheap one, from what I'm told. So let's take it apart, see what's happening inside. See if we can flip this open and see what we got. So I'll just hold it like this. So we got just a couple, what are these, 120 millimeter fans and a bunch of LED drivers. I mean, you couldn't get any simpler than this. I got a feeling some of these LED drivers probably died. And obviously this is, I don't know if you can see it, this looks to be the main power supply. Output's 12 volts. This goes to the fans. So I guess what I should do first is test each of these, make sure they're actually outputting what they're supposed to output. I assume that they will run without a load, but I guess we're going to find out and make sure that these are all putting out. They should be like, what, 12 volts? Output voltage 75 to 85 volts. Okay, a little bit more than 12. Again, I've never worked on one of these before, so I don't know. So being that these are 75 to 85 volts means that these LEDs are in fact in series. So the reason that something isn't running is probably because one of the they're probably in banks, and one of those LEDs probably failed. Let's see what we get. .94 volts. We got nothing. Let's flip the other switch maybe. .95. What's this one? .95. .96. What's this one? The damn chair keeps swiveling. And on top of that, I can't hold. And, you know, you'd think if I was smart, I would actually disconnect the fans. All right, so they both got 90 something. But I'm not smart, so let's take that and that. So let's test these two now. Another one. $94. All right, and these are with no load, so you know there is a chance that once you throw a load at it, it can't hold it and it drops. But I just want to make sure that they're all working at this point. So we know it's getting power. Now we got to figure out where the brake is, and it's probably a smoked LED. All right, so screws are out. Let's see what we see. Let's get rid of this. So we got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What is it? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Test each of these. This one. Here it goes. These ones are displayed, so connected anyway. They're all in series. Yeah, this right here is one that comes down to here. So let's see, it comes up there, comes up here, and runs through here, and then through. So it's all over the place. So just check each of these. Thank you, just make sure. This is the red one I can tell. Okay, there's it. Oh, we have that one here. That works. This is really dim. I don't even know if you can even see that. It is lighting up, but it's lighting up dim. So I'm going to mark that. The reason I'm using this again is I can chip that off. This one, let's turn this off and see if you can see it. Real dim, but if we light up its neighbor, nice and bright. Now the only thing is, this could actually even be, that might be like an infrared or a near infrared, so that might be okay still. This one. So to this light, so here, give another. Boom. Oh, there it goes. Pay attention. Here's another dim one, just like the others. Probably got what you got. I mean, there's a chance it's near infrared. I got it. This is cheap. And it's also run series, so it's not like, if you're wondering why one would take out everything, well, they're a lot of these are actually they're all wired in series, but on different channels. So if you remember Christmas lights, Christmas tree lights, actually I haven't put any up in years. Once you learn about Santa Claus, it's not fun anymore. Sorry if I let the cat out of the bag for anybody, but if you remember, one light would go out and they would all go out. Here's another dim one, and this is 1.4 again. So if one light went out, they all went out, or sometimes every other one would go out or something like that. This is before the days of using, these were incandescent Christmas lights, not LED Christmas lights like so many use now. And So yeah, you would have to sit there all night long testing them. Basically doing this, but just swapping out bulbs until it worked. And sometimes, you know, if they were light enough, you could look through them and see if the filaments burn out. But that's the same idea here. They're wired in series. This one I'm getting nothing on. Oh, there it goes. So far, other than this one, I'm not getting any that are like dead. Alright, so we figured out which ones are shady, let's just say. So if anybody's wondering how this is wired, it's not as simple as, well, you know, this here just controls this panel. I'll give you an example. I know it's hard to see on camera, but if you take the negative line, it runs up, runs through here, goes over through this one, which then comes over to this bank, runs through here, over through this one, down through this one, through this one, through this, and this, and then it looks like it goes through. See, it's hard to see with this white mask. It comes down to here. I can't see if this is connected to this trace here, but it looks like this just comes down and then goes through here. So it's all over the place. I don't have anything that runs, you know, 85 to 95 volts. I think it would be 75 to 85 when we were pulling 95 with no loads, whatever. I don't have anything that does that right off the shelf. I don't really have any use for that kind of voltage. And if I do, I have a couple power supplies that I can run in series and get it, but they're all on a different bench. I do have a power supply here. It's a smaller, cheaper one, but it only goes to 30 volts. And it only, I think, puts out like 3 amps or something. So we're gonna need a lot more than that just to run each of the circuits in here. So what I'm gonna do is just hook this back up. I'm gonna run this straight off the plug, and so there's not gonna be any switch for this temporarily. But at least it'll fire these up, and we can then go around and test each of the panels and see which is working, which isn't working. Right, so there we got that. Nothing. Now this, nothing. So this one may not have any power. Let's try this one here. Because remember, I'm only running half of this. Oh, okay, so this works. This here does not. It's plugged in, nothing's happening. So that at least gives me a direction to go in. Let me tape this off or something. This goes to this guy right there. So we'll just mark that. That's not working. And let's see what else we got. Isn't fired up. Alright, so that one works. That one works. Spin this around. Let's see what these look like. This one does not work. Check it. Yep, that one does not work. This one does not work. But that one does. Alright, all I'm going to do now is just trace the path. And I know it's hard to see on camera, and it's kind of hard for me to see here off of camera. Just lift this up a little bit. So I'm going to take the positive, runs down here, through here, there, all the way through here. This is up here, and then wouldn't you know it, it comes to one of our first dead LEDs. So let's continue on and see what happens. This goes through here, through here, through here. It skips this, and it continues to go through all of them. And it goes to the negative. So that's all it is. It's just a big circuit running through all these. Now it does run through this bad LED here. Let's see what this one does. I have a feeling it's going to do something similar, and I bet you that LED is going to be involved. So this comes down, runs. Seriously need something to hold this up. Why they use, well, I guess I know why they use a white mask on this, is because it's a grow light. They want the reflection. Tell you what, let's go straight with this and follow backwards. See what it goes. Okay. Yep. That's a problem. That's a problem. So that's that. So it's these bad LEDs that are causing the problem. Let me call the owner and see what he wants to do, because we can order new LEDs for this. He didn't seem too. It was kind of like, it'd be nice to have. He's already moved on, bought something new. But this is easily fixable. It's some off-the-shelf power supplies, some LEDs. I can find some of these LEDs online. It's probably going to be kind of expensive unless we can order, well, I don't want to say expensive, but it costs a little bit more unless you can order like 100 of them. And they're not going to be, unless I can find the exact part number for these, they're not going to be exact. So let me see what he wants to do. If he just wants, because I can consolidate all the bad ones onto one of the rails. So, you know, maybe this rail here isn't going to work, and it'll leave some splotchiness, but at least he'll have normal functionality as far as, you know, the two settings. Just one will be, you know, maybe the vegetation setting or whatever you call it is going to be lower than the other. I don't know. Let me call him and see what he wants to do. So I talked to the owner. It's actually a friend of the owner, and he's going to get in touch with the owner and find out what he wants to do. The option I offered two options. We replace the LEDs. I don't have these types exactly. Probably just replace them with, I have some surface mount LEDs that'll probably work. Probably. I got to measure. So there's actually 2 LEDs per unit. So I got to see, besides the drop, actually how much current they're going to pull. So I got to look into that. I might be able to just replace it with something I have. It may not look great, it may not be perfect, but it'll at least get them by. The other option is, like I said before, is to just kill one of the rails and consolidate the good LEDs into the rest of the rails, and then just have one dead rail and put that on the lower setting possibly, so that you know, the high setting is going to be as high as possible. So that's that. I haven't heard back from him yet. It might not be for a couple days. So I'm going to end this one here. I will make a part 2 because I want this thing out of my house. Obviously, I got enough junk as it is, and he's going to want this back. So I'll make a part 2 and with whatever he decides to do. So I'll see you then.